Here we are again. It's time for Lunch for the Soul. I'm Melissa Wilson with Fox 26 News and so happy to welcome you here with me today. I have just such a lovely guest to introduce you to with really a dramatic story. I believe her story will, first of all, make us all want to buckle our seatbelts as tightly as we can. It's going to make us want to hug and love on our loved ones before we drive away. But she's okay, but it is a dramatic story. So please welcome Megan. Hello. Thank you so
Hi.
much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you have a dramatic situation to share. So I want to start everybody from the very beginning. So your daughter, who was about 3 at the time, and then your husband were almost home in Brazoria.
Yes.
And then what happened?
Um, we were heading home, and a young driver was just in a hurry to get where he was going, I guess, and didn't see us. And he was trying to turn into a neighborhood, and he hit us head on. And it was very, very, very scary.
Yeah. Well, anytime you hear about a head-on collision, I feel like the words head-on change, it automatically makes you realize how serious it would be.
Oh,
So
yes.
let's take a look at the car and we see, is this your vehicle? It's hard to even tell
Yes.
what it is.
It was a Toyota Tundra, a four-door Toyota Tundra.
And you look at that and there's really nothing left. Now, when we take a look at the driver's side of this, so that would be the right side of your screen,
Mhm.
something just really catastrophic happened to your husband as far as traumatic brain injuries are concerned,
Yeah.
and he couldn't even remember what happened. Explain what was going on. And wait, before we go any further, I don't even know that I've said this, is you were about 5 months pregnant at the time, which
Yes.
is unfathomable. And you were feeling, probably, I'm sure you were in a state of shock, but you were feeling okay after this, more worried about your husband. What was his shape like there?
Um, I mean, he broke his femur. He broke his arm. He had a massive laceration on his head, and ultimately he passed out from the pain. But in the moment, it kind of scared me that he was no longer with us,
Yeah.
and so I was just in fight or flight. I had to try to figure out my daughter and call my mother-in-law. That was very
And your 3-year-old was in the back seat at the time.
yes,
Thank goodness for her constraints. It worked really well.
yes. The car seat
So,
saved her life, 100%.
and then she only had, out of her injuries, only
Yes,
a
only a
little.
little seatbelt burn, just small. It was so much better than the worst could happen. Like
So
it,
paramedics get there on the scene and they say, wait a second, you may appear okay, but you're 5 months pregnant. What do they
yeah.
do at that point?
At that point, I just wanted my husband and daughter to be seen because I knew he was not okay and she was unconsolable. So it was
Mhm.
scary. And then ultimately, I was like, okay, I'm pregnant. We need to check you out. And whenever they put me in the ambulance, something they detected was off, and they said, no, she's gonna fly first. She's flying because my husband was the only one who was going to be life flighted at that point.
Do you think it was blood pressure, or what do you think that they were
It
concerned
was
about?
something along the lines of blood pressure. They put blood pressure on me, and then they put some leads because my complaints at the time, I didn't know that, but it was very obvious cardiac signs.
Yeah.
So they were very ample on getting me the testing they needed done, and even
Mhm.
on the life flight, they were with an ultrasound from here all the way to down here with a small little ultrasound.
And they were doing that on LifeFlight?
Yes.
Wow, how incredible is that? So now you're on a helicopter and you're going from Missouri to the Texas Medical Center to Memorial Hermann. And I mean, that is a trauma center if you're going to get her where you want to be seen,
It
because
is. Yes. I'm so
this
thankful
is their specialty.
it is.
Okay,
Yes.
so you get to the hospital, and at what point did you realize how severe your injury was? Because it was severe.
Um, Honestly, I thought that I was fine and that my husband, he was not fine. And he had such a bad head injury that he was repeating on a loop, and he was very erratic in the emergency room.
Mhm.
So I heard him from across the ER, and I was like, that's my husband. And at that point, I didn't know that he was alive. I thought he had passed away because in the wreck, it was so fast. So I didn't know he was even alive until we got to the hospital and I heard his voice screaming in the emergency room. And then
And
that
he's screaming for you and looking for you.
but at that point he was on like a loop. was repeating over and over. He would be about 10 seconds and then would start over.
Because he didn't remember more than 10 seconds at a time because the head injury was so severe.
No, yes, it was pretty bad.
And
then they
so
took me,
every 10 seconds he's looking for you and making sure you're alive and okay, and he doesn't remember 10 seconds later.
and of course at the time they had the neck braces on us, so he couldn't like move his head. And once they moved me into the room, they like lifted my bed up because
there he is, your honey. Oh, and I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
They took me into the room, and I think that he was, every time he started over on the loop, which is every 10 seconds,
Oh,
I was in the room with him, so he was a lot better and felt safe. But then they came into the room and started speaking to me about the extent of his injuries and their possibilities that they might need to do. And after that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so overwhelming. And then
and I want to talk about those possibilities for just a moment. So I don't mean to interrupt you, but we're talking a serious possibility of even amputating his leg. And
yes,
at that point, they'd ask you to make the decision, but you weren't ready to do that, were you?
yes, I was not ready to do that. It was just really scary. And I was like, I had the faith and he was going to pull through. He was going to be able to walk again. And yes, there he is.
And I can't wait to get into your faith journey because it is a touching one. So don't let me forget to do that. I don't think I will. Okay, so then we get to you. You know what's going on with your husband. You know it's severe. You know that there is a chance that he might come out of the operating room without a leg, and which is a life changer for your whole family.
Yes.
Then you find out your diagnosis. What did doctors first tell you?
They told me that I had suffered from a aneurysm in my aortic arch, and they were going to have to go in and place a stent there, but they ultimately had to place a T-bar. And so they went in and replaced it. And at that time, it was heart surgery. Scary. I was pregnant. And so I had all of the worst, scariest thoughts, fear. And once they told me, but they assured me that this is the best place to get it taken care of. So,
well, there is a doctor who you say absolutely saved you and your daughter's life, your unborn daughter at that point. Tell me about the relationship you developed with her and how meaningful that was.
I love Dr. Afifi. Dr. Afifi is the reason me and my daughter are here today. She is everything for that. She was there for me through the surgeries, even my pregnancy. She helped me move doctors to be able to deliver at Memorial Hermann with our baby. She has went above and beyond for my case. She is the absolute best thing I could ever ask for in a doctor.
And I had the pleasure of interviewing her about your story, and she just thinks so highly of you and how you wanted to be so careful in everything you did, including not even taking the pain medication that you could have because you were so concerned about anything that you didn't need to give your child. How did you deal with that on your own without getting all the medical help that was out there just to protect your unborn baby?
Well, I mean, I had the best mother, and my mother-in-law, both of them, helped me through this. They helped me more than anybody. I think my mother-in-law and my mom both carried me and my husband through all of it. They picked us up and carried us through it. Definitely.
That's huge. That is so helpful. Okay, so then things got a little bit better, but then you had to go in for a second procedure. Tell me about that.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I wish I could give you a tissue through the screen. I'm sorry. You can go grab one.
Grabbing one.
There you go.
But so when I woke up from the first surgery, where they had to place the stent, it covered my subclavian artery, the artery that goes to my left arm. And I mean, she explained everything to me beautifully. And so then a few days later, they had to go in and place a bypass from my carotid artery to my subclavian, which is pretty much what goes to my brain. And so they had to go in and place that because I didn't have any movement out of my arm, and I'm dominantly left-handed. So it was very, I got to have my arm.
Yeah, that had to be scary. And then to have to undergo something again, but you had that team there at Memorial Hermann. It seems like they were really doing what they could to help you along.
So they did everything that they could to make.
Okay. And this is where it all gets really, okay. So that was all scary and overwhelming, but let's bring in the amazing part. And that's your precious baby. Full term, my friend. Way to go, mama. I mean, It'd be a
We
huge
tried
relief.
everything we could to keep her in and keep her safe.
Wow. So born at 38 weeks via C-section. Now, the baby was considered high risk. You were high risk because of
Yes,
everything you had been through. What was that journey like to be able to, was there fear going into delivery? Did you feel
oh, yes.
comfortable about it?
I felt comfortable because of all the planning that we did, but I had a planned C-section for 3 days
Mm-hmm.
later. I woke up and my water broke one morning, so our plans kind of had to get rushed along. But Dr. Afifi, I mean, she was there. I called her office when I was headed to the hospital, and she was at the hospital there through the whole thing.
Wow, that is incredible. Well, I just love being able to hear that. And I want to tell everyone, you can go to our website at fox26houston.com and look under Lunch for the Soul, or you can even just look on morning news, and you'll be able to hear Dr. Afifi for yourself. So I definitely want to refer you there because she has really neat things to say. Okay, so let's bring everyone. I want to go back now to bring everyone up to date with your husband. He wanted to be there so badly for your delivery, but he couldn't walk, and he was stuck on the couch for what, 3, 4 months?
Yes, he was bedridden for a while. He couldn't, and he had a wheelchair, so we wheeled around in a wheelchair for a while. And then his ultimate goal was to be able to be up and walking by the time the baby was born.
And they told him
So,
he couldn't be there for delivery unless he walked
yeah,
into the
because of the
operating room, right?
wheelchair, yeah, that he wouldn't be able to be in the surgery room to be there for delivery if he wasn't able to stand. So that was his goal. And he even got surgery like 2 weeks before another, and he had many surgeries, and so he had surgery like 2 weeks before the baby was even born. So we were very nervous,
Yeah.
but he did the physical therapy, all of the things, and he was up, walking, standing right next to me, holding my hand whenever she was born.
How big of a relief was that to have him
It
there at
was,
your side when you're scared yourself for yourself and your
yes.
baby, and you had him there?
Oh yes, it was just crazy because it's so many different aspects. Even though I have an older daughter, it was completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Birthing history, like it was completely different.
And here you are, your family together. That had to feel so absolutely
It was
amazing.
the best feeling in the world.
And then I know this is going to be hard to talk about, but I feel like we need to honor her. And
Yes.
that's your precious mom who you said lifted you up. And I know this Mother's Day is going to be really hard for you. And I'm so terribly sorry if you feel comfortable talking about her. And unfortunately you lost her in the middle of all of this.
Oh yeah. Yes, Mabry was 2 weeks old when she passed away, and that's the only picture that I've ever gotten of them, and it was so meaningful. I love it.
Thank goodness you got that. And you just look at her face. I mean, she's so lovingly looking down at your baby. And I know
Yeah.
she's your angel now and
Oh
watching
yeah.
over you all so very much. And then I had a few pictures I wanted to share of when I got to interview you the first time. Here we are in Levy Park in Houston. And so everyone can see your other adorable daughter, Macy. Oh, and so now I want to bring everyone up to date. So your precious Mabry is a year old now, your miracle baby.
Yes, my miracle baby.
Looks like she was having fun out there learning a little bit about golf, right?
Yes.
Oh, such a beautiful family. I just love this picture. You guys look so happy. Okay, so we're going to bring in Faith in all of this. We're going to go back to that photo.
Yes, ma'am.
And you look at that and you wonder how you were able to walk away. Your husband not really walk away, but he is now.
Mm-hmm.
And this renewed your faith and may
Yes.
have changed your life forever about the way you feel about things.
Yes, it did. Ultimately, I mean, I'm young. I question a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but when that happened, even my husband turned to me after like months later. He was like, "I told you," because there is no way that we survived that without somebody watching over us. There's absolutely no way, and I'm convinced of that. And it's been a very learning journey over the last year and a half.
Yeah. And
But
so sometimes you can't help but wonder if things don't happen for a reason, right? I
yes,
mean, that was
I,
an awful thing to have to happen. But if it changes the entire trajectory of your life and
oh yeah,
brings faith into your heart, And you're all okay. You just can't help but wonder why things happen sometimes, right?
Everything happens for a reason, and I am a firm believer in that now. I
Mhm.
am so thankful and blessed that we are still here today. My husband is walking, so it's all a really it's I can't even put it into words. Like we are so blessed to be here. We're blessed to have Mabry. We're blessed that Macy is okay. We're blessed that Chad made it through everything. We still have journeys with that, but
Mhm.
we are alive, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, you are. You're alive and you're together. And it's so neat to see the dynamics of your family together and your little girls playing together. And
They love
your
each
daughter's
other.
unicorn purse that I adore.
She's the type of person that we can't leave the house without her packing a purse.
Hmm.
You never know what's going
I
to be
do
inside of the
see
purse.
that.
Usually it's hair clips.
And she was happy to pick flowers for everybody as well. So she's very thoughtful. So you're
Yeah,
doing a good job, Mama. Well,
thank you.
speaking of those mom duties, are you ready for Mother's Day?
I
Anything?
am very ready for Mother's Day. Yes, we are going to have a long weekend of relaxing.
Oh,
Is it
that
okay?
sounds
Listen, I'm
so
just going to
nice.
and we are going to have a great Mother's Day.
Oh,
We were talking about taking
I'm
Macy to Rainforest Cafe.
oh, that sounds fun. Oh
Yeah.
my, that place is magical. Oh, I love it. That'll be a good time. I just wanted to ask you, when you take a look at these precious girls and you think about Mother's Day being here, what does momhood, so to speak, mean to you?
My daughters are the best thing that's ever happened to me. All four of my kids, they are the world. I would not be who I am or where I am today if I had not had children.
Oh, and
And
we need to speak about those other two because I don't think we can see your shirt. I loved your shirt. Okay, if you guys can see it, it's Mama, Mom. I think, is it Mother then and then
Mama,
Bruh?
Mommy, Mom, and Bruh.
Bruh. You got to tell them about the bruh. That is so funny.
So, I mean, my stepchildren are 12 and 11.
Uh-huh.
And most of the time, it's either Mom, Megan, or Bruh. And I'm like, why do you call me that? So I saw that shirt that not that long ago, and I was like, I need that shirt because it's very true.
So see, you're not the only bra. Oh, it's so funny because my 15-year-old son, every once in a while, because he calls all of his buddies that, every once in a while, he'll accidentally say it and he'll look up because I said, what?
What you just
What did you just say?
it's the stuff that comes out of their
Hilarious.
mouth is insane, but it's funny.
We all know it's a term of endearment, right? If they
Mhm.
call their buddies that, then we're on the
Yes.
buddy level. I figure it's
Okay,
an
that's
honor to
fine
be
with
called
me.
bruh.
Yes.
Well, you're a good sport, Megan. I wish you nothing but the best. You're so brave to be able to talk about your faith-based journey of how far your beautiful family has come. God
Yes.
bless you. I'm so happy you're doing so well. And I hope that you will keep up to date. Let us know how things are going somewhere along the way.
Yes, ma'am.
All
Thank you
right.
so much for having me.
Yes. Take care of you. Okay.
Alrighty.
All right. And then I just want to remind you all, if you happen to have joined us late and you want to see this entire Lunch for the Soul, or maybe you want to catch another one, all you have to do is go to Fox 26 Houston's YouTube page. You can also find us at fox26houston.com. If you happen to have a Lunch for the Soul idea, if you know somebody who would be the perfect candidate to profile, I would love to hear from you. All you have to do is reach out to me, grab a pen. My email is melissa.wilson@fox.com, and I would love to hear from you. Have a beautiful Mother's Day, all you lovely moms out there, and I'll see you on Fox 26 News soon, I hope. Toodaloo.